Well, hello again from here inside St James's Park. Now I know after every game, Eddie Howe always says to us he likes to turn his attention straight to the next match, but I never thought it would be this immediate, a full-on training session going on just over my shoulder there, involving most of the first team squad. They're just going to walk off now. Nick Voltamata, Harvey Barnes, Kieran Trippier, Sandro Tonali, all those who either didn't start tonight or didn't get off the bench. Yeah, they're being put through the paces and it looked pretty competitive, to be honest with you, so they should just wander off as I'm reflecting on the 4-1 victory over Bradford. And what a good, important victory as well as too. You know, the team sheet was a declaration of intent from Eddie Howe. There's an argument to be had that the 11 who started here tonight was arguably stronger than the 11 who started down at Bournemouth, and that is the respect with which he's treating this competition, that an absolute commitment to defend their title. And I think that is right, because you've seen how these early rounds can be, you know, the proverbial banana skin. Last year against Wimbledon even, that needed that penalty. Just as the lawnmowers start, lawnmowers everywhere I go, it doesn't matter whether it's a preview video or post-match. There's not just one of them, I think there's 5 of them there. Anyway, let's carry on. I'll try to talk a little bit louder. Now, yeah, the team sheet was important, and I said to you in the preview video, I think the 11 I picked when I was lost on that housing estate. Yesterday there was only one change from that, and that was arguably a change to make the 11 stronger again. Joelinton came into the side I'd picked for Joe Willock there, but Bruno Guimaraes starting, and Bruno Guimaraes, who will get to the Merit Stars, who played from minute 1 to minute 90. Well, didn't that speak to Eddie Howe's intent? And the memory is so fresh and it's so vivid and it's still so intoxicating of that day, subsequent victory parade in front of 250,000, that to treat tonight with anything other than the manner and the respect and the commitment with which they did, well, that would have been wrong. But they've gone out there and they've got the job done. There was even, given the importance and given the stakes are so high in this competition and these parts, I even detected early on a little bit of nerves. Newcastle didn't really start the game well. The first 10 or 15, they were a little bit sloppy, and Bradford had 1 or 2 little half openings there, but that's arguably a positive, given the players know the reward or the potential reward at the end of it and what it can do for a season. And don't Newcastle need a little bit of feel good right now? I've said in previous videos, they haven't started the season badly. They've played well. They've played well enough to get far more than the points return they have done from the opening 5 games. They played well enough for me a week ago to take more than the eventual defeat from the Barcelona game in the Champions League opener. So there tonight, don't underestimate what that'll do for that feel good and just that feel in front of goal, to rediscover how to score what looks like a Newcastle goal. I've said previously, haven't I, you know, the 2 against Liverpool there came amidst that period of chaos. The best goal of the lot was the one against Barcelona a week ago with those patterns, overlaps, underlaps. Well, there tonight, that was more like it. They were sharp in front of goal, the created chances, the missed chances. I like the fact the missed chances, I think come the end, you know, the shot count was 15 to 20. By half time, it was 12. That's important. Will Osula getting 2 goals. Joelinton, we said in the preview video, and this was on the back of what Eddie Howe had said to us yesterday morning, that the midfielders are going to have to find ways to score goals. I spoke about this pre-match, Joelinton being absolutely key to that. We've seen that he's got goals and he's locked, and so he should. He was actually once signed as a striker, as a £40 million centre forward. Doesn't that seem a long time ago now? But he can put the ball in the net. He did it twice there tonight, ironically, with what were strikers instinctive, you know, close range pokes inside the penalty area, the domain in which he used to fall to pieces. Two really calm, cool finishes. But I want to open this by talking about Will Osula. Now, Will Osula, Eddie Howe said there just to us downstairs that he had a turbulent end to his transfer window. Well, that was turbulent to say the least. It was a story I broke on deadline day that a deal approaching £30 million for a permanent move to Frankfurt, well, that was all but agreed. Osula left the Danish camp. He was away with the national team, and the deal was going to go ahead. Now, I'm going to explore my Newcastle Confidential column tomorrow and reveal the exact reasons why it didn't happen. But yeah, he remained here, and that must be difficult when a player comes back in knowing that the club and the management have signed off that sale, and he was ready to go. Now, wow, what a twist of fate that was, and a twist of fate for the good, for the better, because a few days later, Johan Wissa, who'd been brought in, you know, as the 2 strikers, himself and Nick Voltamata, who were going to carry that load going forward. There we go. There's the players just walking off behind us there, including Big Nick, who came on in the second half. Well, Johan Visser got injured in national duty before he even kicked the ball with his teammates. Never mind competitively, he hadn't even trained with them. He was injured. He's now going to be out until after the next international break. So Will Osula now, he's not just the second choice striker. Given Voldemort there does need those minutes in that period, not just for his fitness, but for adaptation too. Will Osula is going to have a key part to play, and he did here tonight as well. 2 good goals and encouraging performance. Was the sign still there? The rawness that needs to be worked on. Yes, absolutely. Some of the hold-up play was a little bit erratic at times. It bounced off him once or twice, but he certainly got better as the game went on, and that was important for him, for his confidence, for being that that reintegration. Yes, he never went anywhere, but part of his mind, as we saw with Anthony Gordon last season, part of Will Osula's mind might have checked out on deadline day. So to feel that love and to come into the team and score important goals, Carabao Cup, we've already stressed its importance. I think, Jimmy there's looking at his watch. If he had a fourth official's board, he'd be giving me 1 minute. I'm going to be chased downstairs. So let's walk and talk. Is that time up, Jimmy? Right, here we go. Okay. So, yeah, Will Osula, I do want to talk about him because, you do have these sliding doors moments sometimes in the career of a footballer and the season of a club. And Will Osula coming back in, given what subsequently happened to Johan Visser, I've said it to folk privately. I think Will Osula will score a big goal at some point this season for Newcastle. Well, he got 2 big ones there tonight. Probably got to be bigger than that, to reflect on what happened on deadline day and to declare it, absolutely significant. And wow, what a moment that was. What a stroke of good fortune. Well, I've got a selfie stick in one hand, a laptop in the other. Let me use my foot to open the door. There we go. I'm going to carry on recording. Right, laptop down. Look at this, multitasking. And we'll find a little room. How about the radio room? Oh, someone in there. There you go. There's Pete Graves.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Let's find a TV studio. No, they've all got the lights off. Let's walk and talk. Find a little corridor. Whose shirt should we do this time? Did Rob Lee the last time? There you go, John Anderson. There's Ando. So yeah, where were we? We were talking about Will Osula. Now, do you look at him and see a complete package? Do you look at him and see a player who was worth that £30 million to Frankfurt? Well, no, probably not. I think that would have represented a good deal for the club and was probably the reason which they went ahead and explored it. But yeah, Osula is here, and I'm convinced there will be that huge goal at some point, and he will feature at some point on Sunday against Arsenal, probably not from the off. We've seen the rotation here tonight. Nick Voldemort will come back in, you'd imagine, to lead the line against Arsenal. But will Osula come off the bench, and will he feel better about himself on the back of tonight? Absolutely. So I was pleased to see that, because he's a player, and I asked this question of Eddie Howe. He is for want of a better phrase, he's a good lad. He's popular. He's got confidence. I think he's very serious about his career and his development. Eddie Howe said that he's ambitious. That was part of the motivation why he wanted to go to Frankfurt. There would have been more minutes. He'd obviously looked at the situation with Newcastle bringing in those 2 strikers and thought his development perhaps was better served elsewhere. But nonetheless, he's here now, and that might just be to Newcastle's benefit in the short term, and who knows, perhaps even in the long term too. Now, before I reflect further on this game, do the merit stars and talk about 1 or 2 other performances that I thought were significant. The draw, breaking news, Newcastle will have Tottenham at home in the next round. I've just seen the list of fixtures there. Is absolutely the tie of the round. I think when you're looking to navigate your way through to the final, there's only 3 more ties to go, don't forget, before it is Wembley, and that is absolutely the aim and the intent. That was evidenced by that team sheet. Well, any home tie is a bonus, and Spurs up here traditionally is a game that Newcastle win. So I think they'll settle for that. And what a mouthwatering brilliant tie it is. It's to be embraced, and that will, I think even if it had been whatever, League 2 opposition again, Eddie Howe would named a strong 11. Do you want to go past?
If you don't mind, is that okay?
Yeah, go on. I will pick this main thoroughfare as a place to record, won't I? But on we go. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant draw, and will ensure another sellout crowd. It will ensure another raucous big night in this competition. I've said it before, I said it in the preview video. I love the Carabao Cup, and what a tie that is. But first of all, let's reflect on tonight. And as I said, Newcastle didn't start well. I thought Bruno Guimaraes was really sloppy inside the first 5 or 10 minutes. You just looked at it and thought, this might not click really. But then it did. They had a period of 2 or 3 minutes before the opening goal where they were teasing those passes around. Anthony Gordon showed real intent back in on the left. Joelinton was bursting forward, trying to break the lines. Clear instruction on the back of Eddie Howe's call for the midfielders to chip in with goals amid their struggle in front of goal this season. And it's Joelinton who does get that opener. A little bit of fortune. The shot is blocked inside the area, but it falls to him. And like I touched on just earlier there, he looked like a £40 million centre forward, stroking it into the bottom corner. That's 1-0. 90 seconds later, Bruno Guimaraes, who did absolutely grow into the game, and I was going to say carried the team. He didn't have to carry the team because there was a lot of heavy lifting done by a lot of players there, but I thought Bruno was the one from the midfield who really grabbed it and took Newcastle to victory there. Bruno plays the ball through for William Osula, and for a player who, I think I've said this before about, his erraticism is often a criticism. Well, the first time finish, crisp and unerring into the bottom corner underneath the goalkeeper. That was encouraging. That was confident. They then go into the second half. There's a little period where Newcastle do come off it slightly, but then they get the third goal. It's Joelinton again. It's another Bruno assist, rolled across. And again, Joelinton, where was that finishing 3 or 4 seasons ago when he was through the middle there with the number 9 on his back? Joelinton makes it 3-0. Andy Cook, to be fair, Bradford veteran, Newcastle fan, comes on, smashes an absolutely stunning consolation in off the underside of the bar there. But then Osula scores a different type of goal for the 4th, for his 2nd. A little poacher's prod there at the far post, showing that he can score all types of goals. And as I touched on as we go again there, and as I touched on earlier, for Osula, for the team in general, just to rediscover that feeling of scoring goals and creating chances and missing chances as well. That will do them the world of good. Now, onto the merit stars. And I've already spoken about 2 of these players already. 1 star, well, that's got to go to Will Osula. I think you've got to record the fact that he's led the line there through the middle. He's got the 2 goals. He's gone out wide. Even from out wide, he's got that threat as well. Another option. 1 star, Will Osula. 2 stars, Joelinton. When I do these merit marks, I talk about, my love and my like of players who make a difference, who impact the result. And Joelinton absolutely did that tonight. Joelinton 2 stars. And the 3, well, I think I've already hinted at this so far, they've got to go to Bruno Guimaraes. After what was a shaky start, really did grow into the game and just showed class and charisma and bite and drive. And that's what, at times, and this is a criticism of Bruno, they say that he does put on that superhero's cape and he performs like he did against Liverpool a few weeks back, which was a superhuman performance at times. But then, the games, he can go missing, I think, for a midfielder of his standing, of his calibre, Brazil international, he's got to do it more often on a consistent basis. I've never hidden that. But anyway, reflecting on there tonight, he absolutely did do it. And hopefully that for him will give him something to carry into Sunday. So Bruno Guimaraes, 3 stars. But other performances worthy of mention. Anthony Gordon came back in, really encouraging, good intent, good aggression, good dribbling. As you go again there, you're getting past. Anthony Gordon, Lewis Miley. Louis Miley played on Sunday down at Bournemouth, and I thought a lot of his passing at times was a little bit safe. Sideways, backwards at times, just sort of teasing possession around. It wasn't there tonight. He was braver on the ball. He was playing balls through the lines. We know he can. That was a step up again. And isn't that fair? And isn't that to be expected? Given Miley hasn't had minutes for a long time now. I thought Louis Miley was incredibly encouraging. The 2 at the back as well. Malik Chow and Sven Botman paired together for the first time as a 2. They've played together as a 3 down at Bournemouth. But a 24 and a 25-year-old, we spoke there about William Osula perhaps being a surprise addition or having a significant impact. Just when you thought he was out the door, he might have a big say on what happens in the future of the club. Well, absolutely, definitely Chow and Botman, they've got a big say in the Newcastle of tomorrow. And that was a little glimpse there tonight, not just as their strength defensively, and it's probably, a little harder to judge them on that against Bradford, but certainly in terms of their ability on the ball, their ability to take Newcastle upfield, the way they complement each other with a left footer and a right footer. They look like a class act as a pair, and I would certainly take a lot of promise from them from tonight. Okay, so that's it for now, guys. And what I will say is tonight certainly leaves Eddie Howe with a lot of selection headaches, nice headaches to have going into Sunday against Arsenal. Well, I'll be back here. So in the meantime, please hit like, comment, subscribe below the line. Tell me who caught your eye tonight. How far is Will Osula away from starting? Would you leave him in against Arsenal on Sunday and let Voldemort come on from the bench? Has he done enough to warrant that? Who would you play as the front three against Arsenal, given Anthony Gordon's impact there tonight and another decent enough showing from Anthony Elanga? So nice problems for Eddie Howe to have. Tell me what you think below the line, and I'll see you again on Friday when I'll be up at the training ground talking to the manager. Okay, good night, guys. Bye-bye.